Signagelive now has a direct integration with Tableau built within our data integrations application. Today I'm going to tell you all about it and I'm going to show you how it works. This new integration allows you to display views and dashboards from your Tableau account directly onto your Signagelive players securely and reliably. Let's dive straight into it and I'll show you how this integration works. So here we are in my Signagelive network, and the first thing to bear in mind is you will need the data integrations application enabled on your Signagelive network, and of course you will require a Tableau account. Once you have this, we're ready to get started. My screen's actually up here today, so if you do catch me glancing in this direction, don't worry, I'm not ignoring you. Anyway, the first thing we're going to do is switch over to the data integrations application, like so. Once you're in the data integrations application, you'll want to come down here and find Tableau. So I'm just going to search for Tableau here, and you can see it pops up straight away. I'll click on that and I will add the integration to my data integrations application. So you can see now we've got Tableau up here, and upon clicking that, I can go in and I can manage that. But before I begin pulling any content from Tableau into the application here, I need to add my Tableau account. We're going to do that by heading over to the Accounts tab here, and I'm going to click this blue plus on the right up here. And now we are presented with some options relating to our Tableau account that we need to input in here. So in order to obtain this information, I'm going to jump over to my Tableau account so I can start inputting this information. So here I am in Tableau now, and the first thing we're going to do is go down to the bottom here and click Settings. From here, we need to create a connected app in order to connect our Tableau account to an external application. In my case, you can see I've got a few set up here already. I'm going to use this Signagelive Studio one down the bottom here today, but if you wanted to create a new one today, you're going to click New Connected App, then click Direct Trust. From here, you're going to give your app a name. In my case, mine was called Signagelive Studio. The only other thing you'll need to make sure of is that your connected app has an access level that allows it to access the views or the dashboards or the projects that you want to display within Signagelive. In my case, I've just left this as all projects, but if you wanted to set this to a particular project, you can of course do that by selecting the Applies To drop down here and changing that from all projects to only one project, and then you can select your project name from there. But in my case, I'm going to leave this as all projects for now. Set your domain allow list how you require this, and then you can hit create. Like I say, I already have one set up in my case. So this Signagelive Studio one you see down the bottom here, this is the one we're going to be using today. So the first thing we need to do is click on the connected app that we've created. And now we're taken to this page that contains all of the information that we will need in order to connect our account over in Signagelive. Now I'm doing this for the first time today, so I don't have a secret generated in this case, but we will need a secret to be generated. So the first thing we're going to do is click Generate New Secret. If you already have a secret and you don't want to reset this, you can just use the one you have. But now we're going to start copying and pasting information from this page over to Signagelive. So I'm going to jump back to Signagelive quickly, and here was the account that we started adding earlier. So first I need to give this account a name. I'm just going to call this Joe Tableau Test today. Next, I need to input the email for the associated Tableau account. In my case, I'm going to enter that. So next we need the site ID, and this information can be found in the address bar of the browser that you're using. So if I jump back over to Tableau now, come out of my full screen view here, and you can see we have a URL at the top here. Now, the site ID is the portion of the URL that follows #/site/. So in my case, it's going to be this. In your case, it will be something completely different. So just copy the text in between site / and / connected at the other side of that URL. Once I have this, I'm going to jump back over to Signagelive, paste in my site ID there. Next, we need the client ID, and this is obtained from the actual connected app over in Tableau. So we're going to jump back to Tableau once again, and you can see we've got the client ID right here. So I'm going to hit copy client ID, jump back to Signagelive, paste that into my client ID field. Next, I need my secret ID. So again, if I've generated my secret as I've done here, I can go to Actions, copy ID, and that will give me the secret ID. Jump back over to Signagelive, paste that one in. Now we need the secret value, so I'm going to jump back over to Tableau. What I have found sometimes is that when I click the Actions and Copy Value button, it doesn't actually copy any data. So what you might want to do is click on this button here and then copy the value from here. So I'm going to copy the value from here in this case, but if it works for you, click Actions and then copy value there, but just paste it in something outside of Signagelive just so you can see if you've got the right ID pasted. In my case, I'm going to paste that here. And finally, we need the server URL. This is going to be found in the address bar of our browser once again. So I'm going to jump over to Tableau, come out of full screen, and my server URL is going to be everything up to the first hashtag there. So I'm going to paste that into here. Okay, so we've pasted our server URL down the bottom here. Now, before we go ahead and hit submit, we're just going to jump back over to Tableau quickly. We're going to go back to our connected apps, and we're going to make sure that this is enabled. So I'm going to click the 3 dots below actions once again, and I'm going to hit enable. That's now been enabled. You can see the status on the right here. And now we can jump back over to Signage Live and we can hit submit. And now you can see my Tableau account has successfully been added to the data integrations application. But we're not done. The next step is to get some of our views and dashboards from Tableau displaying within the data integrations application. Now we have those credentials there, we can now start pulling over some of the projects from Tableau into Signage Live. So we're going to now click on Tableau over here on the left, and now we can start creating our sync jobs. So I'm going to hit the blue plus here and start creating a sync job. It's just the name of whatever the job is. In my case, I'm going to call this Joe Test today. I want this to sync every 5 minutes. This will be how often we pull over new information from Tableau. Going down to the capture section here, I need to select the account that I want to add. We've already added our account, so we don't need to add a new one. But if you hadn't added your account like we'd just done, you could click add account and go through that process that we went through at the start of this video. In our case, we already have our account added, so we're going to select our account from the drop down here, which was Joe Tableau Test. And now we've selected our account, we will get a drop down with the workbooks available to display in Signage Live. In my case, I'm going to click account engagement, and now I get to choose what view I want to display. In my case, I'm going to click account engagement once again. The next thing to choose is our capture size. If you have a particular resolution in mind, you can hit the custom radio button here, and that will allow you to input your specific resolution. But in our case today, we're going to hit preset. We're going to leave it as 1920 by 1080, but you do have other resolutions available here as well. Scrolling down now, you can already see that we're beginning to get data from Tableau that is making up the snapshot that will be delivered to our player when we publish this to a player. I'm happy with this for now, so I'm going to go up to the top and I'm going to hit save. I'm going to go back to Tableau, and you can see the status is now ready. This means that when our sync job hits that first sync schedule that we set up earlier, it will begin populating our screenshots like we saw in the preview. And the snapshots that we get from the sync job are what will be delivered to our Signage Live players once we hook this up to the Tableau app. Which brings us to the next section of this tutorial, adding our sync jobs into the Tableau app from our marketplace. So I'm going to jump back over to Signage Live now, and in our marketplace we have an array of free apps that you can use, Tableau being the one that we need today. So from here we need to grab the Tableau app from the Signage Live marketplace and add this into our content library. We can then begin adding that into our playlists when we deploy this to our player. So we're going to start by going to content, playlists, and create an edit at the top here. You've got the marketplace on the left here, and if we click that and find the Tableau app, we can then click add to Signage Live to add this to our Signage Live network. In my case, I already have the Tableau app added to my network, so in my case, I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to go to my recently added apps here, and you can see here is the Tableau app right here. If I drag and drop this over to the right now, I can now double click on this within my playlist, and immediately I'm met with a Tableau drop-down menu, and this will allow me to select any existing sync jobs that correlate with Tableau that I can then display within this app. You can see by default, it's added this one called Joe Test, which is the only one we have available. If I had made more sync jobs, we would get the full list available here. Once we're happy with our selection, we can hit refresh and we can hit OK. It's worth noting that on the left here, you're not actually getting a preview of your dashboard or of your view that you've pulled from Tableau. As discussed earlier, the screenshots that will populate within this app, if you want to see them before you see what they look like on your player, you will have to preview them within the data integrations application back in the sync jobs area. Otherwise though, this is ready to go. I'm going to set the duration to 30 minutes for now, and I'm going to press OK in the bottom right here. I'm now going to go ahead and publish this to my players. I won't show the publish process, but I will show you how this looks when it gets to my player. And there we have it. We've gone through the process of connecting our Tableau account to the data integrations application in Signage Live, and now we have our Tableau content displaying on our Signage Live player. So it's worth noting that what we're actually seeing here on our Signage Live player now is a snapshot of the Tableau content instead of the actual Tableau content itself. There are several benefits to doing it in such a manner, one of which being that this is much more secure because we're not sending any data to the screen, we're just sending a snapshot to the screen, therefore there's no data to intercept. The data is being securely stored within the Signage Live cloud. Another benefit of not sending the data directly to the screen is that if these devices lose internet connection for whatever reason, the player will remain displaying the last known data instead of displaying incomplete data or some kind of ugly error message. And finally, our snapshot methodology provides tons of compatibility benefits, and that's because the Tableau content isn't relying on the browser capabilities of the media player that you're using it on at all. It's actually relying on the browser capabilities of Signage Live's cloud, which are updated on a regular basis. Therefore, should Tableau's minimum browser requirements ever change, you have the peace of mind to know that your dashboards aren't suddenly going to go dark one day. And best of all, this means that your Tableau content isn't limited by your device's end-of-life status, and it can operate for the lifetime of the hardware. Thanks for watching. If you have any more questions, please do feel free to to get in touch and we'd be more than happy to help. And with that, I'll see you on the next one.